Hello, thanks for joining me on Life and Surround. Today it's my pleasure to share with you Truce by Markus Reuter. Truce by Markus Reuter, available from his bandcamp in various stereo configurations and from surroundmusic.1 in quad and 5.1. I will provide links below. I'm familiar with Markus Reuter from his tenure in Stickmen. I have both deep and prog noir, and I really dig them. I think I first got recommended to them because of his association with Tony Levin and comments on quadrophonicquad.com. Deep was mixed into 5.1 by Neil Wilkes, and so there was a lot to draw me there. I really liked Deep, and then subsequently Stickmen came out with prog noir, and I found out about it through surroundmusic.1 and ended up picking up the Blu-ray and also really enjoy that album. So when I learned about the opportunity to check out Truce by Markus Reuter, I jumped at it. Musically, which I think is the most important element of any album, I would say that this has a lot in common with some of the crazier experimental Miles Davis that's come out lately in quad, Live Evil and Bitches Brew, and also with some of the more experimental King Crimson that's come out over the years. And then lo and behold, checking out Markus Reuter's wiki, I find out that he has done some time in King Crimson projects. So I'm looking forward to diving into that a little bit deeper because I like a lot of those projects. The liner notes of the album say that this is Moon June Records' 100th, and that it is basically a touch guitar tour de force. It does feature a lot of ferocious playing from Markus. And it also has some more mellow moments. There are moments on this album that are more accessible, and those that really stretch out and are more avant-garde and experimental. Aside from the musical range in terms of composition that you're going to find on this album, it features some marvelous playing by all three members. We're dealing with a lot of foreign names in this video, so forgive me if I get any of them wrong, correct me, and we'll get them right in future videos. But Markus Reuter is joined on this album by Asaf Sirkis on drums and Fabio Trentini on bass. These guys are obviously virtuosos. This album features just simply fantastic playing. I cannot underscore that enough. If you are into some fairly intense music and some music that really requires your attention to dig into, you are going to be well rewarded by picking up this album. These guys are playing stuff that, to my ears, simply could not be performed by many musicians. And yet, it's not just like a wall-to-wall noodle fest. There are definite melodies and hooks that you will find engaging and that will keep you along for the ride. So the mastering, let's go ahead and take a look at the mastering. This runs a little hotter than I would prefer, but I don't see any brick walling. It just looks like the peaks have been brought up and normalized to 0. I prefer for music to breathe a little bit more, but I don't hear any damage when played back through my vintage Klipsch towers. And here's a look at the quad. Both quad and 5.1 are supplied for you if you choose the download route through surroundmusic.1 or their Blu-ray. And I appreciate that, maybe due to a smaller center-size speaker on my listening system, but I found the lead touch guitar to blend into the mix a lot better in quad than I did for 5.1. I found my experience listening to the album in 5.1 to be a little harsh, and in my notes I wrote that this is a musically challenging album, and then I decided to listen to it again in quad just to see if the mix felt different. And to me, it all just gels together a lot better. I found the album to be much more engaging and enjoyable, and maybe it was also just my second pass through, so I knew what to expect. So I'm just saying that you get the choice, and I would try both if you have the opportunity. And now let's talk about the mix, because the 5.1 and the quad do sound awfully similar, but one thing that I learned by reading Yan's mix notes, mixed by Yan Prits, is that the tricks that he went through to separate the toms from the cymbals and to get the toms to pan quite a bit through the surround field, he did more aggressively with the quad mix than with the 5.1. So that may be another reason why I prefer the quad. Now, the way that Yan went about this mix was he was supplied with stems by Markus Reuter, separated guitar, drums, bass, and atmospherics. And Yan decided where those stems would sit in the surround field, and then went through kind of a filtering technique, I believe, to separate the toms from the cymbals. And occasionally, as there are expressive tom-tom passages in the album, he brings those back further toward the surrounds and then pans them back forward. You can read about his mixing techniques both on surroundmusic.one and on his own website, and I'll supply those links below. So I'm a pretty big Yan Prits fan. He helped me bring my own 2017 album Disturbing the Universe to Blu-ray, and he's also hosting it on surroundmusic.one, so I truly appreciate that. I also just appreciate what he's trying to do in a broader sense. He recognized a few years ago that indie artists may have a problem bringing original good content to surround listeners, and he decided to do something about it. With his own personal finances, he stood up a website and started offering to mix projects for indie artists and to help as he could. There were those who wanted to charge me thousands to author my album to Blu-ray, and we worked out, sort of a win-win arrangement. And I owe him a lot of thanks, because that Blu-ray was attractive to a lot of listeners, and my music has gotten out there to more people because of Yan's work. There's quite a variety of music available on surroundmusic.one already, and I'm happy to see him associating with artists of the caliber of Markus Reuter, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he takes surroundmusic.one in the future. So far I've chosen to enjoy Truce just in download, so this is where it lives, on my external drive known as Oppo Food. So if you have the ability to play surround files, that could be a good option for you, but like I said, Truce also exists on Blu-ray. It is a BDR, so just be aware of that. So is my copy of Stickman Prog Noir, but I've never had a problem with it. And if my choice is a BDR or no physical media, I'll take a BDR. So I appreciate that that option exists. I recommend Truce. It sounds good, it's original, it's innovative, it's fun. Things that really stood out to me were passages of super deep, powerful bass, both from an electric bass and from bass synth. Phenomenal jazz-style drumming that can get quite bombastic. And touch guitar that ranges from absolute shredding to more sensitive, punctuated bursts of texture. So I hope that you will go and check it out. Throw Yan Prits a bit of support. Throw Markus Reuter your support. His bandmates. They all have interesting content up on YouTube, so all three of them have gained a new fan from this album in myself. So again, they are Markus Reuter, Asaf Circus, and Fabio Trentini. I think these guys have done a marvelous job. Truce is well worth your checking out, and I look forward to hearing your comments about it. Don't forget to give a thumbs up for this video, subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell if you'd like to receive notifications of new uploads and stuff like that. I appreciate you watching, I appreciate any support that you can lend the channel, and until next time, live life in surround.